body is screaming of pain, my knees were hurting like hell. That certain moment didn't have to take a lot longer for me to start thinking about giving up. It's a game of focus, it's a game of where to put your feet, it's a game of technique. Maybe I'm not prepared enough, maybe my legs are too tired to run this race. All these very tough and demanding conditions lead to that almost actually more than half of the people drop out. The more you let these negative thoughts into your mind, the harder it will be. So I could only think of accomplishing one task at the time, which was basically setting one step in front of the other.
So he should be built here within 15 minutes, but
my name is Jelle, I'm a business owner in finance and try to accomplish ultramarathons.
All right, 4 a.m.
You ready to go?
Yes, man.
So the energy at the start, it's something special, man. It's something addictive. It's a bit hard to describe. Everyone has their own story to tell.
This is really what I signed up for. So when I was young, I always wanted to do these kind of challenges, like really push the envelope in everything, especially physically, but also in business, what we do with the company we're running. And when it gets hard, that's essentially what you sign up for, to unlock a new level of suffering. That's essentially what it is. To enjoy it, to be grateful that you can suffer, and yeah, rock it, man. Really looking forward to it.
I woke up at around 1:30 a.m. I didn't have a lot of sleep actually that night because of the excitement, because you trained so long for a certain race. You feel, well, it's not anxiety, it just, I think I would call it like healthy anxiety. You don't know how you will react after a certain effort, after a certain kilometer amount. So there's a lot of excitement, a little bit of healthy anxiety.
10 minutes.
Oh, ballen.
10 minutes to go. 10 minutes to go, yeah. All right, guys. 2 weeks out.
The UT 100 is one of the most technical and toughest 100-kilometer runs in the world. It's basically a 100-kilometer run with 5,000 meters of elevation, so half the Mount Everest. Through Cape Town scenery, it goes up and off Table Mountain, makes a loop around Table Mountain, and then eventually comes back into the city of Cape Town. I believe everyone can accomplish a marathon in whatever time, but when you run further, it's definitely like for maybe even more than 80% the mental game, and that eventually decides if someone is like finishing it or not.
It's okay to be nervous. It's okay to jump around and twitch a little.
For some people it's the first run, some people are not sure if they're gonna finish it, so just a special energy of excitement, tension, that all build up to the start signal.
In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let's go.
At the start of the race, for some reason, my heartbeat after the start signal and you start running was at like 180, 185. Maybe I'm sick, maybe I'm not prepared enough, maybe my legs are too tired to run this race. But that's just excitement and anxiety you have in front of the race.
Atlantic on the left. This is what life is. And it's just the beginning.
So the first big climb on the dark was Lion's Head. Your body also really reacts to the dark. When it's light you can see where all the rocks are, but in the dark you can only see your headlight. That could also be one of the reasons that my heartbeat was so high.
Welcome Cape Town. Morning, morning. Yes, Jelle. Cheers. Yeah, very good. platte clip, almost at the top.
So I climbed Table Mountain, like Platte Clip Gorge. That on itself is the steepest climb on the course. Kilometer or 1.5 kilometers, you almost climbed more than 1,000 meters, so it's extremely steep.
Top of Platte Clip.
That on itself was a very, very demanding climb.
Top of Table Mountain. Conditions are very, very good. Not very windy.
I was running, following the route of my watch. And then after 1, 2, 3 kilometers, I was basically running completely alone.
Like there's nobody behind me, I think for a couple hundred meters. Nobody in front of me for a couple hundred meters. It's pure silence. That's what we like about it.
Really living in the moment. But then also I started to realize that there was something wrong. And all of a sudden I saw people basically passing me that I already passed an hour before or 1.5 hours before, like before the climb to Table Mountain. How is this possible, right? Okay, maybe there is just like a crossing and maybe they just like go the exact same loop that I just ran. But then I ran a bit further and I came to the exact point where I started when I climbed Table Mountain. Did I run the right direction or what's happening? So I was asking the people that were also running exactly at the same point as me at that moment, how many kilometers did you already clock on your watch? And they were telling like 25, 24 and a half, 25 and a half. And I was looking at my watch and I saw that I already run like 29.5 Ks. So I was thinking, okay, fuck, I really like ran the wrong route. Man, how is it possible, right? You already have to run 100K. How is it possible that I just run like 45 minutes extra? I was already without water. That was definitely a mental thing. I don't want to say that I was thinking about giving up, but that certain moment didn't have to take a lot longer for me to start thinking about giving up. So it was a mental challenge, but then I also started to think, hey, how can I deal with this and how can I make this my benefit? Because I also know that the more you let these negative thoughts into your mind when you're running such a long distance, the harder it will be. So then after half an hour, 45 minutes, I really tried to forcefully focus my mind to the positive side of this extra challenge instead of letting it be a negative thing inside of my head.
Beetje over tijd? Hier.
Ja.
Hoe gaat ie?
Ja. Kloten.
Hoezo?
Omgelopen.
Ja, kan gebeuren.
Is wat het is.
Ja.
Gewoon doorgaan.
Landadno was the first aid station where Siep was waiting for me, and I really look forward to that moment. And that was really a moment for me also of joy, of recognition, of familiarity, because it was the first time I saw a familiar face, especially after that mental challenge up on Table Mountain where I basically took the wrong route.
Where's water?
Water here.
Yeah, okay.
How you feeling, Jelle?
Yeah, all good. Actually, I got lost in the route.
You got lost.
I don't know, I missed the exit. So I made a loop. It is what it is.
Extra challenge. So it's instead of 97, it's gonna be 101.
That's what it is.
He's the only one that's gonna run actually 100K, right?
Yeah, so the moment I saw Siep over there, we were also really talking about next aid stations and what I wanted to have at next aid station. So at the moment we also really felt, I really felt together and I really felt that we were doing it together. So that definitely motivated me to push further.
All right, good luck, man. Peace out.
So yeah, running on the beach was definitely a moment I looked forward to, but on the other hand, definitely also a moment where you have to put in a lot more energy, a lot more effort in it, because running on the beach is just way more tiring for your legs. Your feet are basically like dragging into the sand. After that beach section, you are still running next to the ocean, but the beach is turning into huge rocks, huge granite rocks, where you basically have to jump from one like huge rock to the other. So you can't run over these granite rocks because they're very inconsistent in height. And while like walking and jumping on these rocks, I slipped away all of a sudden and I fell pretty hard with my knee on the granite. It was a moment that I was shocked, that I was a bit scared of what was happening, and that I was really immediately thinking that the race was over or something. Something ended, and there was a lot of blood coming out of it. It was definitely a big moment during the race, a moment of doubt, a moment of challenge. The only people that were in front of me were at the next aid station that could help me. So I could only think of accomplishing one task at the time, which was basically setting one step in front of the other. That was the only way to go. There was no other plan. There was no other thing I could do than just endure the pain.
I didn't film or record much in the previous section because that climb was absolutely brutal. This was even more brutal than Platte Clip. It was insane. Also, my belly is cramping a lot. I'm not used to eating so much carb and actually so much like shit, sugar. So my belly is cramping a lot. Still 40 kilometers left, but the terrain will be much easier.
How are you feeling, man?
Good. Climb was absolutely brutal, but descent was nice and beautiful beach. Where's the aid station?
This way.
Yeah, okay. I'm feeling good. I think I will change socks because I just jumped in the water.
Yeah?
But do you have the bag?
Yeah, no. I've got it in my car. Do you need it?
Yeah, I need it.
There's
Full of ice, which is nice.
Okay, up to the right.
Okay.
Go through the Garmin point.
Okay.
I ran into the aid station. I already knew and I prepared myself for that. I wanted to take a minute there, like 10 minutes, to really sit down, rehydrate, refuel, recharge for basically the last half of the race. Seb was there. He had a big bucket of ice, big bucket of cold water, energy drink, and when you are at that aid station and when you are then together, you really feel that brother energy. You can really feel that he knows exactly what you want, what you need. Just look each other into the eyes. You just like briefly exchange a few words what you need, and that was also for me a very special moment where you really feel that brother energy, which is undescribable actually, and then you really feel that you're a team and that you're in it together, not only in this run but on your whole life, in the business, and that's just a full circle moment which I still now look back on and feel a lot of joy in.
Nice. Let me speak.
Leaving Hout Bay aid station, it was around 2-3 p.m. By far the warmest moment of the day, but during the whole course there was always a bit of wind. On top of that mountain there was no wind. Warmest moment of the day, feeling temperature was around 33 to 34 degrees, and that was a very tough moment. I was running that together with 2 other guys, and we couldn't run because it was so warm, and that was a very tough moment. I think one of the toughest moments of the race. That inner conversation about why is it so warm, why am I still running over here after 65k in these conditions. I really had to challenge myself of pushing through. I remember seeing people next to the trail really sitting down next to a tree to get some shadow because of the heat, and the heat played a huge role in the high give-up rate that was there because they basically couldn't do anything anymore. So it was really like a mental game of blocking that and just continue to push through and trying to get to the next aid station.
Almost at the aid station, couple hundred meters. Then heading into Newland Forest, Alphen Trail. Yeah, almost there.
After indeed conquering that heat, next aid station was Constantia Glen in the middle of the wine fields. That aid station was basically the beginning of the forest section.
Okay, great. Thank you. Perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Spending a bit of time at that aid station, putting my mouth full with some potatoes, refreshing things, filling up my water bottles again. Really also sparked another level of energy in me because I knew, all right, the heat is pretty much over, the sun is starting to set, and we're going to run into the forest, which is in the shadow. So that moment I could really feel another level of energy, and I remember like running out of that aid station into the forest that I just felt very energized again. I really felt something in my body that I never felt before in terms of energy.
Let's see if we got something extra in the tank. Now we empty it. Specialty from the house. Trying to do 5-minute case. You have to empty the tank. Gotta be cross that finish line. Done and dusted. Let's go!
In the section between Constantia Glen aid station and Alphen Trail aid station, I ran into a Namibian guy, which I started running together with. So we were having a bit of a chit chat together, a bit about his life, a bit about my journey, which was also a special moment because you know that he's also fucked up and you just like share the suffering. Arriving in Alphen Trail aid station together with the Namibian guy was very nice because that aid station was one of the biggest aid stations on the course. A lot of cowbells ringing, people cheering you on, people screaming, and the first thing I immediately had to think of is like cooling my knees because my knees were in extreme pain still.
It's fine. Can you hold that a sec? One of these hold on the stick. That way.
And basically the whole body is like screaming of giving up. And then you know that you still need to run like half a marathon with also still a lot of elevation.
There we go.
Armin is very concerned that the moon is going to burn his face tonight. There's a lot of sunscreen.
Nice, Jelle. Polish. That was a long section, man.
Oh no, you took a different mate. Just look at it.
Knees are a bit
Yes,
fucked.
because other runners are just out there chilling.
Legs are heavy. Yeah, it's almost over. It's almost done and dusted. I think we will make it before it gets dark. Yeah, man.
Off you go. Let's give them some love as they make their way.
While it was the last aid station, it was definitely a tough moment. The sun was starting to set, it was almost dark. It was getting a bit colder and you knew that you still had 12 Ks left with a pretty big climb coming up in front of you, which was the blockhouse climb up onto Table Mountain. So the wind on that climb was absolutely insane, which was definitely a bit scary. It was almost like if you blew off Table Mountain. I turned my headlamp on already at the last aid station, was pitch dark. You know you're almost there. You still have half an hour left. You can almost feel the finish line. And then all of a sudden, after 10 seconds of flickering headlamp, it basically turned off. This is it. Here ends my race.
You must be so cold as well right now. You know, he passed that mastery, so he should be here within 15 minutes. But let's see.
Eventually, I came to the conclusion that I just had to wait on the runner that was behind me, which was about 5 to 10 minutes wait. And I asked him, hey, sorry, my headlamp just turned off and I can't see anything. Can you please run behind me? And then we run together to the finish line with your light in front of us. So he said, of course, let's just finish this race together.
So just past Deadman's 3, should be at the spotter location, so basically where they'll announce in like 20 minutes.
You crossed that finish line and I really felt a very mixed amount of feelings.
No man, 1 second. Done and dusted. Oi, that final stretch. Was the wind on Table Mountain.
Well done.
Thanks, brothers.
Okay, what's next? And what's the next challenge that I can conquer? And what's the next thing that I can train for in such a dedicated way? The race itself and the discipline training and the hours that you put into a certain effort to reach this goal and to accomplish a 100-kilometer race really helps me and the business as well in a lot of different things. It was for me another realization that really everything is possible if you're willing to put in the hours. The race itself really taught me as well that eventually everything will end. Like the good things, the bad things, everything will end. So you better just approach it in a stoic way and just accomplish one task after the other, like one simple task, and step over one hurdle at a time. Being out there in the nature, being out there for like 17 hours also gives you so much time to think about stuff you are never thinking about, because nowadays people get distracted so easily and start to scroll, start to do whatever. And when you're out there for like 17 hours, you can't do that. So the only thing you can do is just think about it and try to solve it for yourself. Yeah, so what I really discovered about myself after kilometer 80 was in a moment of when I was running on the Table Mountain Ridge in the pitch dark after 95 kilometers of running and my headlamp turned off, how practical in thinking I am. I felt scared because I didn't have any light in the pitch dark on the ridge of Table Mountain with the wind, but I already immediately felt that I tried to give it a very practical approach. What is option 1, what is option 2, what is option 3, evaluate the options and choose an option and just execute it. What's next? That's a very good question. Actually, after that run, I really fell in love with these long distances. I am going to run a couple other long distance runs, one in Portugal of 90k in May, one in Andorra of 80k in June, and then the big goal later this year of 2026 is in November, exact same event in Cape Town, not the 100k but the 100 miles.